Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. Your ghost host with the most tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So light the jack-o'-lantern, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection. Kenan and Kel, two heads are better than none. Who loves orange soda?
Kel loves on soda.
All right. Okay, and we are back with yet another haunted holiday hijinks for the season, folks. This is a Dragon. I teased a dynamic duo at the end of the last one, and my god, this one is Kenan and Kel, of course. Dragon, we've kind of talked blue in the face about our nostalgia for it on the Christmas episodes that we've covered. And I mean, I think it's fair to say it's probably the finest hour that Nickelodeon's ever had in terms of sitcoms, as far as sitcoms are concerned.
Well, you mean half hour?
All right, good. Just Drake and Josh has its moments for sure, but I think Kenan and Kel had just a consistency to it. Just every episode just really was stuck full of I know the characterization on Kenan and Kel just holds up so well.
That it does.
And of course, Dragon, watching this again, I gotta say this was a nice palate cleanser after Good Burger.
It was so much. Yes.
Oh man, I don't know what happened with Good Burger, man. Good Burger really should have been so much better than it was with Kenan and Kel, because these two, man, they just knock it out of the park when they want to, and this is a great example of it, Dragon. This is late in the game of Kenan and Kel. This is kind of in the twilight of the series, but it doesn't matter. You still feel the energy. You feel the the enthusiasm for the comedy that the two of them have, especially Kenan, man. This is where Kenan is really starting to just kind of go off on a tear with some of the wordplay that he does and kind of how he repeats things to himself. And it's so delightful, just this whole performance. And I gotta tell you, Dragon, I don't think that the supernatural elements of this thing are the strongest elements. I think the best part is just kind of like the family road trip and then just kind of the classic Kenan and Kel shenanigans of it all. But, I think the Headless Knight holds up well enough. I don't necessarily find any real intrigue in it. It might be, I don't want to say it's the weak point in the movie, but it might be the part of the movie I'm least interested in. But still, this is a very, this was a very nostalgic trip for me. I gotta say, in spite of having nostalgia for Kenan and Kel, I remember this movie, Dragon, but I don't remember watching it a ton. Maybe that's because it was at the end of the series run. Maybe they didn't rerun it a lot after the series got canceled. I don't know. I remember it coming out. I definitely remember individual scenes from this film. I remember specifically all the Roger moments from this film. I think Roger kind of steals the show in a lot of ways. But I don't know. This doesn't like stick in my mind in the same way that something like God, I don't know what another TV movie I could compare it to would be, but yeah, anyways, I don't want to blank myself out on it, but still, it's very good. It's very good. All right.
Yeah. Well, I have gobs of nostalgia for Two Heads Are Better Than None. I really do. I remember when this thing premiered, man. Oh goodness, when this thing premiered, it was like a snick thing. It was like a whole Saturday Nick and Night sort of thing they were doing. It was premiered on a Saturday. I think there was I forget if they brought back Coolio or not, but the idea is that Kenan and Kel they were watching this movie on the orange couch, and it was a spooky night, and they're all very afraid.
Oh my god, that's great.
I want to say Coolio was there because the idea, here's the big thing. I remember this is the last episode.
Oh yeah, right, right.
This was the finale to Kenan and Kel, in essence. It was, and this, of course, you know me. I'm a huge Abbott and Costello fan. One of my, I guess, as a kid, one of the things I gravitated towards big time with Kenan and Kel was kind of the Abbott and Costello dynamic of the two of them. You know, it was and basically what we're doing with this is very much an Abbott and Costello premise of the old you go to the haunted manor, as it were. You go to the not the haunted in this case, but we go to the creepy mansion, which that's all Abbott and Costello fodder. But we kind of use that. We had a fuse that that's kind of the haunted holiday hijinks kind of appropriate element of this whole affair. We fuse it with kind of a road movie with Kenan and Kel. And yes, it is far better than Good Burger's attempt at things. If I'm being honest, is there a lot of substance to this? Probably not. But is it fun? Is it an excuse to see more Kenan and Kel shenanigans? You're darn tootin' it is.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So that's the thing. Like it basically, in regards to like kind of thesis overall, it's kind of we're kind of doing a thing where we're taking Kenan and Kel and we're taking them out of their element, kind of out of the situation comedy that they're used to, and we're putting them out in the world. And this is exactly what we kind of tried to do with Good Burger, and we just failed miserably at. Where we just try to kind of break the rules of the series. Here we did kind of break the rules, and it ends up again not being as strong as the show, where again it's very much okay. Well, we have the usual kind of landmarks. If you're going to the Rigby's grocery store, you're going to be at the Rockmore house.
Yeah, I missed the Rigby's grocery store.
That's what I'm saying. Like again, like those are usual set pieces, and you're kind of. But I feel like they fared better going outside of that than we did with something like Good Burger. And again, benefit too. Bear in mind is Good Burger is like during the infancy. That's I believe they're 2 years in the Kenan and Kel. This is like after they're very comfortable with each other. They have like their rapport going on. This is very much kind of a Kenan and Kel production before it's like we got to play. I assume there might. I remember. I think Nickelodeon was supposed to be accommodating when they were making Good Burger, but you know what I mean. Like have like the pressure. Like you're the big studio movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a TV movie. It's a TV finale. It's like what could you possibly lose? That's kind of what we're at with this. I mean, the important takeaway for me is that this movie is it's firmly our guys remain firmly in character. Not for a moment do you doubt like that's just the two of them in like a misadventure that we're calling Kenan and Kel. No, that's Kenan and Kel. It's all the characters you love. Just we put them in a in a new situation. And the good news for me is that this is a very, I think it's very fun seeing him in kind of a classic comedy set piece. That's the weird thing. I really like the third act of this movie. Essentially, the third act, you basically go into the manor. That's all like that's all kind of the classic comedy situation. I really kind of went to the piece. That's where you get the two heads are better than none kind of premise of it all. That's what
Okay, here's the thing about it, Dragon. It's all really good. My only thing is that it kind of comes like I wish more of the movie was focused on it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, a part of me wishes that basically the thing that's working against is that there's nothing really bad in the movie. It just feels like there's the sell of the movie, which again is that latter half, and then there's just Kenan and Kel, which is fine, but again, not quite the sell of the movie.
I mean, Kenan and Kel is more than fine. It's great, like globe-trotting Kenan and Kel shenanigans with Roger giving a standout role as well. So
it's basically
it's more than fine.
It's like we're doing Vacation with Kenan and Kel, which again is fine. I'm down for that, but you're trying to do that and kind of have your quasi Halloween movie. I know it's not Halloween, but you're trying to have your classic kind of comedy horror movie going on here, and those two don't quite jive, but it's not a problem. It's just like
it feels like 40% horror movie, 60% road movie,
and I think that should probably be in reverse. We should have little road movie, more of the latter. But again, I'm just saying, given what your piece is supposed to be. But again, nothing offensive at all. It's perfectly it's a fine movie. I just feel it's a little half and half in that regard. At least not when we get to you already laid out the breakdown like 60-40, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not a full 80, if you will. All
right. So, what minor background do you have in this, Dragon?
Very minor. So, of course, this is at the time we get this, it's season 4 of Kenan and Kel, the last season. I just kind of I really wanted to bring this up. So, I looked back on the episodes that we had in season 4. I remember a lot of these episodes. I forget like what order they were in, but season 4 had a surprising amount of finality to it, with a lot of the episodes leading towards the end. At least the second half of that last season was very. They knew they were on their way out. At least it gives every indication of which. Where, like you think here are some of the events you had leading up directly to this, like in a row practically. You had the graduation episode where Kenan and Kel graduate high school.
Sure.
You had them, one of my favorites, them going to Universal. They go to Universal Hollywood.
Oh, that's yeah, definitely.
I love that. Then we have this kind of farcical episode where we glimpse the future. It's like the year 3000 with Kenan and Kel. It's ridiculous when we go to the future. Like Roger's I forget if Roger was a robot or not, but it was like something like that. So we have that, and then we have generic clip show, where basically we're biding time until I guess this TV movie. Therefore, we have like a clip show, and then we get the TV movie. So it's all very final things, really. So again, surprisingly, there was kind of a calculated plan there with the last of it. So I don't know, something
not necessarily like Mr. Robot style calculated plan, but still.
Well, no, that's calculated in a whole different playing field.
I know.
Also, a little, not a fun fact, kind of a sad fact here. Of course, Milton Berle. This was his last movie, but again, it's kind of so odd that Milton Berle, so odd and yet so appropriate with the Hollywood of it all here, that Milton Berle he ended up doing a Kenan and Kel movie as his last thing.
Yeah. It's it kind of fits. It's kind of like Marlon Brando in Transformers.
Of course, Milton Berle, one of the age-old industry greats. Of course, he was in the Muppet movie as well. He was in another famous road movie. He was the car salesman. All right, then lastly, also, this is more of an obscure little fun fact I just want to mention for the sake of it. There are a few horror stars in this, actually. Bonnie Hellman, she's a very obscure, like one-note one. Shelly Wilson, one of the Shellys. Lady Shelly.
God. Yes.
She had a very ridiculous and memorable kill in one of the Friday the 13th movies. She was so she was in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I think this is like the fourth or fifth one, the one where he kind of like died for keeps until they decided to bring him back. As before they kept just going and going and going. The one with Corey Feldman. She was eating a banana, and they basically recycled the Kevin Bacon kill, where basically he was killed like an arrow through the back of the neck, and they basically they killed her the same way, but while she was eating a banana.
Oh man!
So she has that for, and also we have the Hills Have Eyes guy was in this.
Oh, okay.
So a little Michael Berryman. So a little fun fact for you there. Anywho, that does it.
All right, so Dragon, we're basically going to take this as a road trip. We're going to kind of, in the grand old style of a Goofy movie, we're going to lay out a road map. Would you like to start us off, Dragon?
Do you have the little graphite that we can use to change the map? Like, not even the pencil. I'm just talking about the lead in the pencil, man, because it's a tense situation.
Oh, God.
That intense lighting. Anyway. But yes, let's go on the road, man. Let's start with the road trip of it all.
All right. So let's start with the Kel shenanigans at the beginning. There's going to be a lot of Kel shenanigans, but let's start with the beginning Kel shenanigans.
Yeah, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this. I'm convinced they lost the Kenan and Kel set, which I don't know if this is entirely why it was a road movie or not, but we're in the house at the start, but it's not the same set.
I didn't notice it, Dragon. It's been a while since I've revisited the show. Probably since the last Christmas thing we did.
Yeah. So I love when I could catch reruns of Kenan and Kel. I can't at the moment, but basically they would re-air it sometimes. So it's really neat. Anyway. So yes. So basically, the Rockmore family is going on this cross-country trip with Kel tagging along in hilarious fashion. Tiki, how does Kel tag along?
He just basically gets buried with the luggage in the back seat.
I still love this visual so much. I love the idea that Kel's just there the whole time, and he's blocked in. It's such a nostalgic kid thing. I don't know why. Just like the idea of F4 of any variety is just so comforting, isn't it? Just the idea of like. In retrospect, now an adult, would it be comfortable at all? No, but does it look like a cozy idea if you're a kid? Like, yeah,
I totally know the feeling you're talking about, Dragon. I can absolutely relate. The feeling of, honestly, Dragon, this is going to sound super weird, but I used to enjoy riding in trunks as a kid.
Well,
I know that sounds odd, but I would just kind of the thrill of like not knowing where you were going.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I wouldn't necessarily go with the trunk thing, but I hear you on the idea of like kind of a more kind of like enclosed way of travel. I hear you.
Exactly. I don't know.
Yeah, just for the kids out there again, don't ride in the trunk.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a better example than the trunk. All right.
All right.
This is another weird example, but the bathroom of an RV.
There you go. There's something there, like a little kind of confined area.
Yeah, exactly.
So what if you could take the old, the old adage of a lot of the Japanese hotels, a lot of the really weird confined ones, remember the ones you're gonna slide in there? Like, what if you took that but you made it mobile? Let's make it
Oh my
mobile.
god, I love that.
That old chestnut, anyway. But yeah, I love just Kel closes in there. Of course, Roger goes for a sandwich, and of course, we have this great thing where Kenan.
This is great. Like it's like Kel just hands him the sandwich, and Roger's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna take that sandwich."
That he doesn't realize it until he's all the way in the car. So Kel point is now Kel whether the Rockmores like it or not. I love how calculated this was. We're gonna wait till we're far enough away so that my father will not be able to turn him away.
Right.
So Kel is now in the car, and of course he's singing "Million Bottles of Orange Soda."
Oh my god!
Why is he singing that? Why is he singing about orange soda?
Because Kel loves orange soda.
Is it true?
Ooh. No, I'm sorry. It's true. Ooh. How does it go, Dragon? God damn it.
Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda. Is it true? I do.
Oh, right. I do. Ooh.
Or in this case, he do. Ooh.
All right.
By the way, a little fun, folks. Every time I have a beverage in hand, it is always orange soda. A little fun fact.
Are you serious?
You've never? Yeah, I'm drinking orange soda.
Oh, that's awesome.
Take a guess as to why I drink orange soda.
So that proverbial drink that I always worry about ruining when I'm late is always an orange soda?
I'll admit, rarely is it water, but usually it is orange soda.
Okay, nice.
That's what I'm saying. And of course,
we're learning things about each other, Dragon.
Take a wild guess as to why it is orange soda. Because of this show.
God.
And purely because of this show. I kid you not. Anyway. So, of course, with Million Bottles of Orange Soda on the wall, I love that he stops
at like 12, right?
No, he stops at 11.
Right.
Like, after all of that, after everything he put him through, he's not going to finish the song.
Nah, I'm sick of that song.
It's great. Then
Kenan is just like, this is like a great example of just the chemistry they have. Kenan is just like so exasperated because it's like he's so sick of hearing the song, but at the same time, and I can totally relate, just kind of like the unfinished quality, just kind of like the lingering in the air of like, all right, well, we need to get through 11 more bottles, god damn it.
We've gone this far. I mean, literally, it's 11 bottles left out of a million.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Right. And Dragon, there's such good wordplay and back and forth chemistry between these two throughout the movie, exactly like this. Absolutely. Why couldn't Good Burger have just been written by the guys who wrote this?
That's what I'm talking about, man. And it's oh god. All right. So let's see. I mean, very much again, this kind of Laurel and Hardy, again, the famed comedy duo of Kenan and Kel, man. They have that great rapport with each other. Again, it's flawless.
All
right. So then I believe we go camping, right?
Yes.
Camping because I love how Kel calls Roger out and this sort of stuff. Where he says, basically Roger's selling like, we want to spend some time out in the woods, out in the wilderness together, and basically Kel calls one, you're just too cheap to buy a room in a motel. So they're all going camping, and I love this ridiculously. Kel is not cooking anything; he's just eating a stick.
Oh my god!
No marshmallows. He's eating the stick.
Of course he is.
It's a toasted stick, but a stick all the same. So I'll admit here's the thing. One critique I do have of the movie, though, and it's not a worse thing. It's just a taste thing purely. It's I think we have like some weird non sequiturs in this movie that I feel we're only putting in there just to get a reaction from Kenan and Kel, and I feel those are a little unwarranted. Like we have this home on the range gag where Roger's like singing in a different voice entirely. Home on the range.
Yeah, that was odd. That's what
I'm saying. We're doing stuff like that, and I gotta be honest. I'm a little on the fence about one of our next characters, the other comedy duo.
Oh, I love them.
I said on the fence. I like the Shellys. I'm not ever heels with them. All right, I'm not. It's the Shellys. I think
they love ketchup.
That's great. What I'm saying. The point being, the Shellys, they're weird and scary, but in somewhat decent ways.
what I love about the Shelleys is that I feel like it gives this movie an identity, and it kind of like the thing about them loving ketchup and being so appreciative about the ketchup. Honestly, Dragon, that's like classic nostalgic 90s Nickelodeon goodness right there. I don't know how to describe it really, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just like it's the way that Nickelodeon used to be written, where characters would have such ridiculous character quirks, but Nickelodeon would make it work.
It is. I just feel we may have doubled down a little bit too much on the Shelleys. They were funny. I just feel like maybe they overstayed their welcome a little bit, you know?
But I don't know. What I like about it is that they are plot relevant.
They are. It's just like I don't feel like they should have been at the manor at the end, I guess, to an extent. You know,
But that's what I'm talking about. Them being at the manor makes them plot relevant.
you're right. Well, I mean, I love the build-up. Like these guys, they're so friendly. They're so grateful about the ketchup, and I think the big crescendo of their whole gag is that, and they don't give them a ride when the car breaks down. That to me is the perfect tale. Right. Shows right after all of that build-up and all that, the graciousness over to the ketchup of all things, and they don't help. And as funny as Kenan is calling them out on it later on, is it just feels like why are we? Basically, the Shelleys are maybe overstaying their welcome after the big crescendo. I don't know.
I hear you.
But anyways, with the Shelleys, though, again, just this very crazed, ketchup-obsessed, overly happy couple.
Oh, man. Okay, and then Roger gets into a ghost story, but first we get a toast story.
I love this toast. Yes, is it cheesy, is it ridiculous, but it's awesome, man.
I don't care. It's kind of the exact sort of humor of like a family that loves ketchup. It's just like and Dragon, this is again, I'm sorry, we're gonna bring up Good Burger a bunch in this podcast.
A better version of an Ed misunderstanding.
Exactly, right. Oh, you meant ghost story? I thought you meant toast story.
What's great about, I'll tell you why it works, all right? Here's why it works. One, it's not just him playing off of just kind of anyone. It's like not him, but usually when he played off Kenan in Good Burger, he kind of had that going for it here. But again, it was more sparing given the material in that movie. Mm-hmm. But here, the benefit is that you're sucked into it, where Kel is just kind of laying out this ridiculous, like, where is he going with this when he's talking about bread and everything? Then Kenan just like calls him out just at the right time, says, "Not toast story." That's what sells it. It's the timing, and it's just like the perfect amount of timing on that. Like before, it's just like, well, he's just doing this for everybody. It feels special when Kenan knows, like, oh, Kel, only he would come up with the toast story. So
right. Oh man!
So importantly,
then Roger gets into a ghost story. Would you like to tell them about it?
Well, before it's about like a bloody massacre or something, right? It's about like a bloody thing in the woods.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, the important detail is that Kenan, basically, the really interesting choice in this movie is that Kenan is kind of the Lou Costello of the piece. Which is kind of odd when you really think about it. Where, again, the idea being Lou Costello classically, especially in the Abbott Costello meets the monsters or meets the blank, the ... if you will, is the idea that the one person gets overly scared and very much buying into whatever monster encounter that's going on here. Where the Shaggy Scooby dynamic, if you will, where he's where Kenan does not want to hear any scary stories, and the minute he hears like bloody murder, or like massacre, like in the family, or the point be like, so like there's like the bloody something happened. He goes off to look for firewood. He's very cowardly in doing so, and then he then he bumps into the Headless Knight. So we got to talk about the Headless Knight a little bit here.
Yeah,
Headless Knight. I tell you, the Headless Knight's a cool idea, but I don't think they at all, because again, I don't know, it's because we're dedicating a lot of this to the family trip or what. Headless Knight really doesn't track at all. When you really think about it, the Headless Knight...
I'm totally with you. I'm glad we're on the same page about this.
It's cool, but it makes no sense. Because I like the mythology. I love the mythology. I love the idea that when we find out, the Headless Knight is this, he lives by cutting off heads, and the creepy detail he eats people. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, that mythology is great and creepy, and the visual's cool. But there's no reason for the visual. Like, why is he running into the Headless Knight when later on we're going to meet the Headless Knight? Like, why is he here? There's no reason for this. Why is he in the armor, yet not later? Makes no sense,
Uh-huh.
Cool visual, cool sell. We're going to name the piece after this guy, yet Yeah, we just wanted to throw. We have to. Basically, we're reaching some story things here. We need Kenan to be scared, and be talking about this guy. We need him to be the whole like Luke Costello doing the impressions of Frankenstein and Dracula to falling on deaf ears. We need that, but we have no real reason as to why he's there. If you basically, they're making room for. There's no logic here. It's just comedy.
Yeah, no, you're taking the words right out of my mouth,
Oh,
Dragon, and I'm glad. Honestly, I thought this was going to be one that we were going to have a disagreement on, but I'm glad we're on the same page about it.
oh, we
This
are.
is probably the weak link of the movie, I would say.
It is. All right, so I guess that brings us. I believe we're going on from this, aren't we?
Yes, yes, yes. So let's take a look at the stops along the way.
All right, so let's start with not Bruce Campbell's new show, Ripley's Believe It or Not, but let's Believe It or Else.
Wait, Bruce Campbell is hosting Ripley's Believe It or
Yes,
Not?
he's the new host. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, they replaced Dean Cain with him, I guess, after all these years.
All right, so yes. So Believe It or Else, this is a great set piece.
Yes, of course. I've been. I think I've been in one. I've been in one version of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
I've been in the San Francisco version of Ripley's Believe It or Not. I have mad nostalgia for that place. That's the only one I've ever been in.
I remember. Here's the thing. I know there's always one that kind of stares me in the face because there's. When I've gone to Atlantic City on the boardwalk, there is a Ripley's Believe It or Not. I can't remember if I've been in that one because I know I've been in a Ripley's. I think there was that one, and maybe one in Florida. I'm not sure. I've been in one of them. I can't.
I'm sure there's one in Florida.
It's been too long. I think I went to the Florida one, but I don't know. Anywho,
the thing I remember about the California one, the San Francisco one, is it had this earthquake simulator.
Really?
Yes, like you walk through like a tunnel that was shaking.
I remember the spinning tunnel. That's what I've been through.
Yeah, the spinning tunnel. That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I've been. I keep wanting to go in the one in Atlantic City. It's one I'm pretty sure I haven't been on because it looks like really appetizing.
You should do it, man.
Yeah, I know. It's always like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, point being. Anyway, so the point is they go to this, into a Believe It or Else type place here, and they, of course, here's the thing. We need to go here because we learn about the Headless Knight mythology here. This is where it's kind of if you want to make an equivalent, I don't mean to keep citing this, but it's kind of the perfect analogy. Given literally, Abbott and Costello has mentioned the Kenan and Kel theme song. So, I mean, Coolio said it first, man. Don't blame me. But in all seriousness, it's kind of like when Bud and Lou were opening the crates, and they're reading like the little placards that tell you like the legend of Dracula or the legend of the Frankenstein monk. It's kind of what we have, literally a placard about the Headless Knight, where this is where we learn about the mythology and stuff, which is going to clue us in for this. That's why we're at this location. But if I'm being honest, it's here again. Fun Kenan and Kel stuff. Do we need it? Not really, but
it's a giant ball of yarn, Kenan.
That's what I'm not complaining because I love that giant ball of yarn gag.
That giant ball of yarn is such an awesome Nickelodeon sight gag.
Let me ask you, where do you come down on a Chimperachi?
That's another one that's kind of like. I feel like that's in the same vein of the Roger thing, the Roger singing, where it's just kind of put in there for, to get a reaction.
I gotta admit, though, it's a little catchier than the Roger thing, because one, of course,
it is.
One, it's superstition. Two, it's a monkey. I know it's chimp, but let's just say monkey for the sake of brevity. And I don't know, it's weird, but weird with an edge, and it's in like a kind of a Believe It or Not type place. So I guess I buy it more. But yeah, it's absurd but funny.
Yeah.
But yes, the ball of string. You know what I love about the ball of string?
What do you love about the ball of string?
I love the artful disaster and the shenanigans of the ball of string. I love we're playing the classic.
Like a Rune Goldberg machine of chaos.
I love the POV shots from the ball of string when it goes. I love how it's built up where Kel needs to hug the ball of string, and then it creates this chain reaction.
I just want to hug it.
We have the uplifting. It's like what if we got the POV of the Raiders boulder? That's kind of what we have going on here.
Right.
Where we get to see Kenan and Kel running from it as dun 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 dun. There's kind of the 2001 music's playing here.
Oh God.
We're basically they're running away in terror, but it's such an artful chaos, man. I love it. And of course, this is a running gag too, literally, that people are running from it. But no, in the sense of this thing causes some damage.
Yeah.
Let's see. So another stop along the way is the motel.
Yes. Tell him about it, Dragon.
Yeah,
Please.
the motel scenes. This is always like one of the. I gotta tell you, nostalgically, this scene was always stuck with me because of how it was shot. Again, years later, look at it. So again, it fits into that Headless Knight dilemma. But honestly, out of all the Headless Knight stuff, it fits best here because again, it's a nightmare. Therefore, we can get away with the Headless Knight, no problem.
Mhm.
It's an eerie scene where basically Kenan and Kel are sleeping at the motel, or sharing a room, and Kenan has obviously, especially after the Believe It or Else exhibit, he's got the Headless Knight on his mind. So he has this nightmare. He's alone in the motel room where it's great. Didn't think of that. I
Thanks,
love the whole
thanks.
night gag where it's like, don't. We had some great Kel comedy. Well, before I get further in the nightmare, we got to throw out some fun Kel comedy here. Because one, I think the best joke in the entire piece, the best joke that's always stuck with me.
Yes.
I will never forget this part of the movie ever because of this gag. I love that what Kel brought with him on this trip. He brought a suitcase within another suitcase, within a smaller suitcase, 2 items. What were those 2 items, Tiki?
An umbrella and of course a bottle of orange soda.
And it's just he's borrowing everything from Kenan because he brought nothing. He's borrowing like his oversized shirt and the underwear and all this sort of stuff because he brought nothing because he didn't bring any drawers. This is
Oh man, bring any drawers.
I don't think drawers are gonna help me when it rains, Kenan.
I gotta say, Dragon, I was kind of expecting the briefcase to just be full of orange soda. And so I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route because I think that would have been the more predictable route.
It's just fantastic. And I love the whole like when Kel's basically speculating. Basically, Kenan can't. It has the night on his mind. He's trying to say this to. He's telling this to Kel, and Kel basically posits before as they're trying to go to a peaceful night's sleep. He keeps positing. I wonder how he cuts the heads off. You think he uses a knife or some scissors? No, that would take too long. And it's like night. Just don't say night. It's not going well for Kenan, which basically triggers this nightmare that we see. And the best part is when after he bumps into the night, he kind of wakes up from a nightmare, and then he sees, again, kind of in the days of when you wake up, especially in a fear-based state, he sees this is the great commercial break. This is the great TV movie aspect of the whole piece, folks. He sees the night, a silhouette of the night about to chop his head off, and
No, it's doomed.
I know, but still, it's pretty effective. It's like, oh god, it's like poor kid. He's a goner. He's just screaming the camera, and then we reveal, okay, it's just Kel. It doesn't track at all, which is even better. If you look, it's like there's no misinterpreting these two things. It was an axe silhouette on that. Where basically it's like a fly swatter. Basically, Kel was trying to swat a fly on Kenan's head or something.
You know what, Dragon? I feel like it's the thought and the concept of the gag that counts.
It is. It's great. I mean, it's the fact. I think it's even funnier where the fact that we have this red light because it's the light reflecting on the door, the red door. They close that door. It says, "Why is the door?" I was just trying to get some air in there. Says, "Yeah, I didn't open the window because some maniac could crawl through the window." Just gold.
Okay, so then we get, oh dear God, this, in my opinion, Dragon, is my nostalgic centerpiece of the movie. Just the car breaking down and all of Roger's pain and suffering.
Yeah. One other bit, like not the direct pain and suffering, but the kind of the monetary pain and suffering. What did you feel about that gas station scene, man?
Yeah, kind of again, sort of
non sequitur, right? Weird non sequitur.
I hear you. That don't really pan out too well.
That mechanic guy, the weird mechanic guy, is like smearing smearing Kenan's shirt, and the upcharge of the gas. It's really strange.
Okay, I do like the smearing Kenan's shirt thing. That was funny, just because Kenan has a really funny reaction. It's like, come on.
All right, let's see. So the car breaks down. Remember the ridiculous reason why the car breaks down. So we learn a little later that Kel, he removed the key wires in the car during that weird gas station scene. That's what Kel was doing during the scene. He removed 3 very key wires because he thought they were pretty.
Just oh, good. Dragon, you know what? That's a better version of like lovable idiot Ed.
It is. It is. So of course we get a rather I don't know what your read's going to be on this, man, but I tell you, then and still a little bit now, there's kind of a nice touching scene in this moment here. So the car breaks down, and then we have kind of a very vacation inspired moment. Of course, in the movie Vacation, Clark Griswold, he has to go off and look for help while the family stays by the car. And of course, the big money, he kind of did the passing of the torch beer thing with Rusty. It's a nice little touching father-son moment. And I feel we're homaging that with Kenan and Roger. After Kenan's very willing to get help for the family until he finds out Rockville. They basically have this creepy old guy at the gas station warning, "Just stay away from Rockville."
Rockville.
Very much a Scooby-Doo type guy. He's very much like stay. So pretty much now Kenan is freaked out. The family again is Roger throughout this whole movie. This is going to be important to set up here. Roger throughout the whole movie has been saying, "Okay, look, there's no such thing as the Headless Knight. No such thing." So it's really touching moment. It says your family needs you here. And although Kel's also interjecting, like, "Yo, it's easy for you to say." And he's like throws Kel to the side, like, ah. Anyway. But yeah, seriously, it's kind of a touching moment where Kenan's doing this to help the family. I don't know. I thought it was kind of nice.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. It's kind of like Kenan. It's almost kind of like a mini version of the SpongeBob movie where it's like, okay, Kenan and Kel stepping up to the plate. Now they're men.
Yeah, Kenan's stepping up, and it's really nice. And in fact, of course, we have some great comedy here with Kel's like dying of thirst, only like about 10 feet away from them.
Oh, that's right. That's non sequitur I could get behind.
Water.
I need water.
Later on, he needs more water. Enter the rain, which leads to one of the other better gags. Again, the continuation of my favorite gag in the movie. It rains, but Kel, as we know, has an umbrella. It's great. But while it is raining for our guys, we're going to check in with our heroes a little in a moment here. But before we go any further, we got to talk about Roger's pain and suffering.
Yes. Roger is just like, he's doing everything he can. He's trying to keep it together, and he's just coming up with all these solutions to try and get that car working, but nothing's working, Dragon. He's just coming up empty-handed every step of the way.
I love, what did you think of the Roger shenanigan music? Where basically whenever Roger's
I love Roger shenanigan music.
It's like, okay, you know something better.
I wonder if that's just like classic cartoon stock music.
Yeah, I think essentially it is, but I can't.
Library.
It's from a library, but I can guarantee you it's not from a Nicktoon, but it's from it's a library of some kind. Anywho, but yes, of course. Then what happens to Roger while he's getting basically he's kind of egged on to, well, you didn't spring for the waterproof lug. It's kind of classic, wife just not offering a helpful solution, but offering like a context in the situation. Well, this happened because of this, instead of like, oh, let me get it. Sorry, little point being. Roger is then going out to take the luggage out of the car, which is very ill-advised in a rain this severe, and what happens to him?
Just gets torrentially downpoured on.
And
tell him.
Gets struck by lightning. Not once, but twice.
Oh, God. Poor Roger.
If I'm being honest, is it a bit over the top? Yes. Is it classic Roger, though? That it is. But I got to tell you, I've been through a lot of torture, a lot of torment, but, I don't know. Struck by cartoony lightning. I don't know. It's fun, though. I won't say it's not fun. I'm just going to say, I don't know if I buy it, but it's fun.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about where at least the namesake of the movie really comes.
Yeah, man. I think it wouldn't bother me so much if it wasn't the namesake. Honestly, Dragon.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. I mean, it's a vacation movie. Then by all means, do the other stuff. The other stuff is again they're both fine, but they're both again it's a different cell. It's a different. And of course, when they air this thing, sometimes they break it up into 2 episodes. I guess one's a little bit of a lengthier episode, but because it's supposed to be aired as a TV movie, but basically one part's mostly vacation, the other half is probably, if I were to be a betting man, I'd say all this. Makes sense. Yeah. As I said, this is where the real movie is. Let's talk about let's talk about the Headless Knight himself. Let's talk about Arthur.
The weird thing about Arthur is that there's a lot of parallels between him and fucking Master Gracie from the Haunted Mansion.
There are, but put a pin in that too. You know why he's called Arthur?
Why is he called Arthur?
Because of King Arthur.
Wait, is he literally supposed to be King Arthur?
No. It's just like it's a knight thing. Get it? It's a knight. You know, he's the
Oh,
headless. He's the headless knight, and
right,
his name's Arthur. You see what they did there? Anyway.
Comedy gold dragon.
Where's a pie in the face when you need one? So, no, but yeah, you're right. There's kind of a there's a Gracie-esque quality to him. I get Time Winters. Tiki, rarely in life have I ever come across a man named Time. There's something special about that. I just wanted to acknowledge while we're in the room on it here. But Time Winters.
The Baron Cohen and Through the Looking Glass. And to be fair, that movie's terrible, but he is the best part of it.
Fair point. Anywho, though, but Time Winters, I thought he was very Brent Spiner-esque. Did you get a Brent Spiner vibe off this guy?
Actually, yeah.
He's so Spiner-esque, which, by the way, I don't want. I'm going to derail this with a tangent. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save that for later anyway.
God, okay.
Point being, very Brent Spiner-esque. He brings. I really like his performance. It's one of my favorite performances in the piece, outside of our guys, obviously. Outside of our regular plays, I guess of the new guys, I think Arthur was quite fun. If you're basically, I love that he's playing the obviously suspicious host very well. He's playing the very obviously this guy is a must. If he had a mustache, he'd be twirling it, folks. Believe you me. He kind of brings like kind of an uneasiness and a class to him. Like, this is obviously a guy who owns a man.
Red herring. He's like so obvious that you would think he's a red herring, but no, he's just that obvious.
The guy has a creepy painting where you can take the eyes out of on him. The guy speaks. That's what I'm saying. He speaks in such a suspicious. This guy's obviously he's red herring in every sense of the word. Of course, he's got his creepy staff. We have, again, Michael Berryman, the Hills Have Eyes guy, and as Chives, the butler. And Bethel, I believe Bethel, the lady without the eyelids.
She doesn't have any eyelids, Kenan.
Then we get like the runner of blink you. Like, I didn't say blink. God, just Kel's completely being Glee's so blunt about it. It's just funny. So again, to me, as I mentioned earlier, this to me is the sell of the whole premise of like it's Kenan and Kel in a classic, kind of haunted, kind of a classic,
sort of like dinner situation,
very Clue-esque kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clue meets the Haunted Mansion or Tower of Terror-esque thing. I don't know, something like that.
And the Shellys are there.
Yeah, and again, they're kind of. I love it when the Shellys show up, and Kenan, of course, earlier, as I mentioned, the Shellys like the Rockmores are broken in. The Shellys just like, oh hi, because they're waving and essentially waving, flagging them down. It's just, oh hi, thanks for the ketchup or something yet again, and just later on,
I can't thank you enough for the ketchup.
They're just completely just abandoned by the side of the road. Now Kenan just like this is the wonderful wit of Kenan Thompson. He's just playing like this sardonic, like says, "Oh, where's your family? By the side of the road, where you drove past us. Thanks for the ketchup again."
Oh God,
that's stuff. Great, dude. They always say they're welcome. Yes, are they still fun? Yeah, sure, yeah.
I mean, I'll admit they're not the strongest part of the movie by a long shot, but I do think their initial gimmick is quite entertaining.
Of course, the other fun thing in bringing it back though is the fact that we have a payoff to this ball of string where Shelly now has a broken leg, and how did you get that broken leg?
I mean, by the ball of string, of course.
You had to dive out of the way of the ball of string.
So many lives were lost that day. It really was a tragedy.
I think one could say it's a tangled web that we weave, and that we weave that web with a big ball of string. One could say, if I had a theory, it would be string theory on that John.
Nice.
A little physicist joke for the kids out there. All the physicists are watching this right now. Anyway, so. Anyway, but yeah, so of course we have Milton Berle as part of like this other. Basically, you have like a few different families that have just kind of been kind of taken in by the rain and taken in by Arthur here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we basically have the dinner scene, I guess. The dinner scene, basically, again, the creepy element of the scene is he's feeding people to Milton Berle of all people.
Right.
Just he's feeding it. Kel is chowing down. It's quite horrifying when you think about it. Again, because we have this great disturbing. He's like, "What is this? Meat?
It's meat. It's meat.
Just freshly made and grounded meat." It's just so messed up that Tiki, only as much as I love Kenan and Kel, the fact that we got away with cannibalism in Kenan and Kel, essentially. Basically, it's like the open.
Kel is technically a cannibal, and
like we're doing the opening of Red Dragon in Kenan and Kel. Like literally, when Hannibal Lecter serves other people for dinner, the Omar's Bush, that whole thing. We're doing that in this. Completely went over my head. As a kid, went over my head. Now it's God. I remember, to me as a kid, I think I missed out on the whole cannibalism thing. I just thought it was like it was just serving meat, like weird meat, and I didn't know what the deal was.
Yeah.
It's just saying meat. I thought it was just the creepy thing. Now I was like, oh God, it's even more horrifying. All right, so let's see here. So then, of course, the big benefit of this scene here is Kenan throughout the scene. He's basically calling out. He's kind of raising an eyebrow to all the very suspicious stuff Arthur's laying out here. This is to one of the other fans, Milton Berle's family, which by the way is just kind of strange. Milton Berle is the father to this lovely black couple. Not questioning. I'm just basking in the tongue-in-cheek humor of it all, regardless. I love that just Kenan just calling him out like, says, your hand looks very dirty. You should wash up. No, just you. It's like don't go whispering. Don't go. It's like it's kind of a stream. It's kind of a stream stab at it. Like don't fall into the old horror slasher cliches, man. Don't do it. Use the buddy.
It definitely got a Scream vibe to it for sure. I'm sure that was influenced by it.
Use the buddy system. Let's see. Okay, let's see. And then of course we have the most on the nose of the Headless Knight of it all here. So when he drinks some water, what happens?
God, doesn't it just like slip right through him like Pirates of the Caribbean style?
Kind of. It basically spurts out of the neck as if he had like a gush, like a cut to the neck. It's just like shooting out water when he drinks it. And no one else is picking up on this. Just Kenan very horrified. Like, oh God, look, he's just water's coming out of his neck. He's, oh no, that's impossible. Smiles all completely dense to it. So eventually we find out he's killing these people, and believe it or not, again, it's really dark. We actually killed people in this movie.
We really do. Yeah,
they killed Milton Berle before he died. Crazy.
I mean, yeah, you're right. This movie does have a body count.
I mean, well, literally more of a head count, but yeah, it's like literally 3 heads. I mean, I think the only way, if I'm a betting man, I imagine the only way they got away with that is the fact that we see that he puts the heads on the bodies and they talk. So I think we don't see these guys. We don't see them talk again. But I think it's just the implication. That's the only little loophole they had on it. Otherwise, someone was sleeping on the censorship job. But I'm not blaming them though. So it's like a Saturday night Nickelodeon movie. 3 dead heads on a table there for you. What do you know?
Family picture.
So the Shellys, after we liberate the Shellys, we kind of save them. We get a little bit of Abigail shenanigans, get a little running away, and the Shellys really take care of business. They take on, they kick the crap out of the staff.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. That's the ultimate payoff to the Shellys, I think.
Fair enough. The point being, we have the great hot potato game with the head. This is where a lot of fun. Again, here's the frustrating thing. Okay, I love the headless gimmick. I do. I love, again, as I mentioned, I love the mythology of this thing. I'm convinced the only reason we didn't have him he's not in the night costume. That kind of bugs me. We finally get to this guy, and he's not even in the night suit.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
That's the thing, is you have all this build up, Headless Knight. I mean, the idea is, I think it's a practical thing. I think that they'd want to do all these hot potato scenes and all this stuff with a guy in a night costume. That's what I imagine it was. But I think it was. Otherwise, it was just this idea of well, I mean, again, he's casual. Why does he have to slip? There's no logic in why would he slip? It's basically you're darned if you do, darned if you don't. If you don't, he's not a knight, hence the Headless Knight. But if you do, it's why does he feel the need to put on the night costume? He's just kind of casually at home.
I mean, it would have been cool to see it just once as a just as a visual. I don't know.
Me too. You know what would been really? You know what? I'm just thinking about this right now. It would have been really cool
What?
if Kenan and Kel or Kenan like walks down a hallway and he had like maybe a few suits of armor of a knight and freak them out. He just walks there and like one of them like either removes the head or something. And point is he had like the knight's body without the helmet on, walking behind him.
Ooh, I like that.
Be cool. Probably not in the budget, I'd imagine, for a TV movie. But anywho, because armor is expensive, man. Anywho. So yeah, then we get, I suppose, with our guys, obviously they escape with their lives.
But I do like how the knight makes a last-ditch effort. He throws the head at the car, and the car's like holding on.
He didn't have much of a plan beyond that, though. He really didn't.
No, he really didn't, but still, I just love the visual.
I love it too, man. It's great. So then essentially the Rockmores are reunited. After Kyra fixed the car, by the way. I love that.
Yeah, it just kind of adds like a nice cherry on top to Roger's pain and suffering. Like, after all that, Roger just doesn't even get to be the hero of his own story.
Yep. So the Rockmores, they reunite. Everybody's happy and together, but we're running in terror from the Headless Knight, and Roger wants to put it. He wants to be the star of his own movie in his eyes. He says, "You know what? I'm going to put an end to this right now." And also, while this is happening, we should mention too, the Shellys, they're doomed, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean the Shellys, like we have the headless body clinging onto the back of their car, and they're completely in the dark about it.
Right.
Anywho, so we return to the manor. What happens?
Tell him.
Roger, he's basically walking around and says, "See? Nothing." And then he's called out to, "Hey, you, Baldy, hey. Can you give me a hand?" And of course, Roger is now giving his proper comeuppance for doubting Kenan the whole movie. He's just like, "Come on, help me out. I'm a nice guy." And of course, as Roger's like flees and then drives off and says, "Come back, my nose itches." Oh, it's all very, very apt, very appropriate.
All right, so final thoughts, Dragon.
Well, that's for me. Again, as we think we're kind of simpatico going, it's a better pairing of Kenan and Kel in a horror movie setting, very, very nicely. It's kind of giving like more to chew on. Again, kind of thrusting him back into the throes of kind of the classic comedy duos, very appropriately. I gotta admit, in retrospect, kind of an odd choice for a final adventure, just in terms of your premise. Put him on the road and then kind of do this horror thing with it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a little bit of a weird finale to the whole show if you really think about it. But again, to be fair, they had their bases with all the other. They pretty much did every finale you can in the book leading up to this. So I can't really fault them for that. It's perfectly harmless. It's more. It's a lot of. I'd say not a lot of substance to it, but it's just more Kenan and Kel, and I can't really complain about that. It's more Kenan and Kel, maybe a little unbalanced with what they're going for, but you can only do so much, and importantly, they remain true to what Kenan and Kel is, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I like this a lot. I think that each individual set piece kind of stands on its own. Of course, Kenan and Kel themselves are the threshold, kind of the thread that strings everything along. They're kind of holding everything else up. The writing on this movie, just the dialogue and the beats are just significantly better than something like Good Burger, just a giant step up. And it's genuinely funny, genuinely endearing. But Dragon, I think you and I are simpatico that like, I almost kind of wish this movie would have just been a full road movie or a full haunted house movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of like the one thing that's a little bit of a sticking point.
Yeah.
All right, Dragon. Next time on Haunted Holiday Hijinks, I'm just going to come out and say it, Dragon. We're doing a Courage episode, and we're doing a big one. We're doing an iconic one.
Yes.
Not going to say what that one is, but, it's definitely one of the big pillars of Courage that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yes.
All right. So, folks, that's the end of tonight's spooky selection, and our spirits grow weary. But they'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more Haunted Holiday Hijinks.
Pass the orange soda and the ketchup. Thanks for the ketchup.